Hello guys, I found this video about a biracial woman struggling with identity issues, so let's go ahead and look at it.
We all need to find ourselves as we grow up, a process that continues well into adult life. I think we can all agree it's not easy. Now, what if you're caught in the in-between of a biracial identity? You're not one or the other, you're both. But people want to put you in just one box. This is an experience Natalie knows all too well, and she's sharing it with us today. Natalie, I'm so happy.
Sorry, but how beautiful is she? She's adorable.
You're joining us today. I've been wanting to talk to you about this for quite some time. I follow your feeds, and I know you speak about it on social media. You recently shared that, and this is your quote, "Being a biracial woman has given me an identity crisis that I'm only now beginning to sort through." Can you expand on that a bit for us?
Absolutely. And I think you nailed it when you said, you're stuck between two different worlds. So, I've grown up being not white enough to be white, but not black enough to be black. And all of that is based on whoever I'm talking to, where I am, the time of year. I have a friend who says I'm her half white, half black friend because I'm white in the winter and black in the summer. You're always just trying to figure out where exactly you belong. And, I saw a meme the other day, which was someone looking on a form to tick a box and there was black or there was white. And where do I go? Where do I fit in?
Okay, sorry, but the baby literally looks Asian. I don't know why we come out looking all different kinds of ways, but my nephew came out looking the same way, but he grew into his like mixed looking features eventually.
Where am I allowed to fit in when it comes to emotions? What am I allowed to feel when it comes to either race? And how do I connect with either side?
A huge chunk of the world watched Meghan Markle and Harry talking to Oprah about her experience with the monarchy. And did any of that hit home for you with regard to your biracial identity?
Absolutely. It was a really, really tough watch for so many reasons. But, she's light skinned like myself. And, I know there is a level of privilege that goes along with that proximity to whiteness. And it just really highlighted that, anyone who has any sort of black, any sort of color, you are not safe. No matter where you are, what you're doing, whether you're married to a prince or whoever, you are not safe. And it
This is absolutely true. Like, they always want to compare, like, oh, but you have proximity to whiteness, and what benefit is that when we're still being abused or sexualized or harassed just because of our skin tones and being people of color?
really highlighted a lot of the emotions that I've been feeling throughout my entire life.
It's terrible to even say this, but you've been told to your face that your children aren't yours. So tell us about your experiences as a biracial mom to biracial kids.
Well, my kids are mixed. I've learned a lot from my parents. My parents dealt with this with me. I've been taken away from my father at security at airports because they don't think that he's my father. So that kind of prepared me. Of course, as it was said in the interview, when I was pregnant with my boys, what color are they going to be? So I kind of prepared myself in a way. I legally changed my name on my passport. So going through the airport, we'd all have the same last name, but still customs. I've been asked what my relationship to the children are. My middle son has blonde hair and blue eyes, white blonde hair. And I'm constantly asked what my relationship is to him, if I'm the nanny, and to prove that I'm his mom. And I don't, bar showing my loose skin. What am I, what am I supposed to say? Prove that this is my son. So, I always travel with a notarized letter from my husband, saying that, these are my children. With my.
That's incredibly strange. Like, why people can't just mind their business? If the baby looks like it's like safe, if the baby's not like, looking fearful, I don't know. I just think it's weird. I just think it's weird.
With my parents, this is what I've learned. This is unfortunately my reality.
That hurts. As a mommy, that hurts. When you're living at the intersection of different identities, yeah, that hurts. And cultures, some have described a sort of racial imposter syndrome. Has this been your experience, and what are your thoughts on that?
100%, 100%. Especially this summer, I was struck with so many emotions, around George Floyd's murder and the protests and everything we saw. I found it very, very tough to deal with. But I thought, am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to feel this sort of emotion, this sort of sadness and pain, because I know that I am light-skinned, and I know that there are women who have darker skin than me, and they have had different issues, and I felt guilt for that. I felt guilt for being so light, and wondering if I get to feel that sadness, but also knowing I'm also connected to the oppressors, and just kind of wondering where I fit in there. And, again, comes back to that identity crisis of being not enough of either. And knowing that I don't officially have the feeling like I don't have the right to empathize with either side of my race.
That is really interesting, and that makes perfect sense to me. Like, I get it and I hear you.
I'm also learning not to look at myself as a percentage, but to look at myself using "and" as well. So I am a Black woman, and I am a white woman, and I am biracial. And there are experiences that I have that are universally Black, and there are experiences that I have that are universally white, and experiences that are universally biracial. But there are also very different experiences that other people have. But also in terms of representation, I know there are kids like me, and my sister and I were talking about this last night, that you see another kid that is biracial, and you kind of give them like a nod or a smile, like, you're going to be okay.
Oh my God, yes. I love seeing other mixed kids. And this might sound strange to some of you, but I didn't really see other mixed kids until I came to Maryland because I'm from South Carolina. There were no mixed kids. Like me and my sister were the only ones. And I will admit that I was accepted a bit more than my sister because of having like fair skinned, and the way I was perceived in the world was a lot different. A lot of people thought that she was like Mexican, and they didn't, there's a lot of racial discrimination against that group. So I know the differences that people chose, like between me and her, and from my darker skinned stepsister, they would treat us different. So I get that the difference is there, but like seeing other mixed kids for the first time in Maryland, I was like, oh my God, you're mixed. And the first thing this boy said to me, it was a Black boy. He was like, stop trying to separate the races. And I'm like, or stop trying to separate us. And I'm like, dude, we're already separated. Okay. And then the other mixed kids like just hugged me, and it was just like beautiful. But that was it, Curtis, right? It was like a beautiful moment.
I'm trying to look at myself as a whole person, as opposed to just different races being Frankenstein together, and seeing biracial Megan, seeing biracial Kamala. It's really shown me that yes, there are women who look like me, and there is a place for me. And we are a whole person, and we aren't just parts.
I thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I know it's never light. It's never a light conversation. It's never innocuous when you're talking about race and identity. And so I appreciate it so much. And honestly, Nats, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to get into it more and more. I want to talk about raising biracial kids. Like, there's so much that we can talk about with this topic that hasn't been mined. So thank you so much, honey. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having me, Tracy.
Tracy is an amazing interviewer, honestly, and she handled this with so much care because you know how sometimes our monoracial sides can be really mean. She was such a sweet person, and I really appreciate that because you could tell. I forgot her name, but she's really nervous because it's such a weird conversation to have. You never know how someone's gonna take it.
Talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about it ad nauseum. And I'm really happy that here at Cityline we can sort of encourage these kinds of conversations. We want to continue these conversations about race. We are so thrilled to see them go beyond the show. The Halton District School Board has been using our Cityline Reel on Race YouTube series as a professional development tool for their educators through virtual sessions. This is what we wanted. So you can see these photos from Principal Janet Riccardelli. She sent us. It's part of the board's commitment to dismantling racism in all areas of the organization. And as I said, we love to see it.